Hey everyone, welcome back to the Jailbreak trading series, and today we are trading the Brulee. Now, I've got to say, this is still one of my favorite vehicles in the game. I've literally used this vehicle throughout most of my time playing Jailbreak, and in fact, I was actually pretty sad when they replaced it with the Eclair, but that is honestly fine. I mean, seriously, this is still such a nice looking vehicle in the game, and the only downside, since I made the last Jailbreak trading video, is that I think it did end up getting a nerf. So what I mean by that, previously the Brulee could go pretty much in infinite top speed. It didn't really have a top speed limit, and so that means what players were doing is they were literally breaking this vehicle's physics. They were placing a bunch of C4 on the back of this vehicle, and what that does is, because the C4 explodes and pushes vehicles forward, if you place like 20 C4 on the back of the Brulee, it would go to ludicrous top speeds. Like, I'm talking over 1,000 miles per hour. That's actually ridiculous. And so what Azimo and Bad CC ended up doing is they put a top speed limit on this vehicle, so it can't hit that as consistently anymore. Once you start getting up to those higher top speeds, you could definitely feel the Brulee is a little bit more limited than what it was before. Now, quite honestly, that is fine. I can live with that. It's not the best vehicle to main today. If you're still using the Brulee, I would consider maybe looking at some alternatives like the Parisian or the Javelin. Those are some really good alternatives that you could get when trading away a Brulee, and honestly, that's not a bad thing whatsoever. I could definitely say that the Brulee's value definitely went down just a little bit, but I think that it's still at a very solid place. I think it's still about 10 million, so that's not quite as high as what it was, and I think the Bayesian actually overtook the Brulee in value. But that being said, I think you could still get great use out of the Brulee, and I think it's still a phenomenal vehicle for trading today. So that being said, as you can see, the design of the vehicle looks very nice. The Brulee has a super nice blocky look to it, and it's very nostalgic. I really like using this vehicle, and quite honestly, you can't really go wrong with the Brulee. But I know you guys are here for trading, so let's go over to the trading dome and see what players offer for the Brulee. Alright, so as you can also see, I have the spoiler on the Brulee as well. I think the jetpack spoiler is really nice for the Brulee. We're going to be offering the Brulee to Cat though, and he does only have obtainables, but I do want to see what he ends up adding for the Brulee, and it looks like he just declined the trade, so that's honestly brilliant. Alright, we've got another player over here, and they're throwing in two Parisians off the bat and a Macron. That's actually really cool. Now, here's the thing. I already covered the Parisian about a week ago, and that's actually a really interesting vehicle I want to talk about because its value is definitely starting to rise up. Now, here's the thing. I think each Parisian out there is still a little bit under 5 million. They're definitely not getting the M12 very consistently quite yet, but the longer you wait, I'm pretty certain the Parisian is definitely going to go up there eventually. Now, I wouldn't have done that trade, and it looks like that guy ended up declining either way. I already have 3 Parisians on all my accounts, so that is honestly fine. But if you want to get yourself Parisians before they start going crazy in value, because like I said, it's not like the snake, the Parisians are actually going up in value. And that being said, I think it would be a worthwhile trade to consider, especially if you like investing in vehicles that end up going in value. I can guarantee that the Parisian's going to go up every single month, and it's going to be just like the Javelin. Literally, the Parisian's following in the Javelin's tracks, and it's going to be around the same value, so that is really cool to see. That being said, we've got another player over here, and they're offering 2 volt bikes for the Brulee, so I think that's honestly an interesting trade, although I swear they had 3 volt bikes because it said they got rid of one, so that's actually really interesting. And yeah, these are basically 2 just random volt bikes from the street, and I actually want him to add something else for the Brulee though. By no means do I think you should trade a Brulee that's worth 10 million for 2 volt bikes that are a million each, so that's only 2 million that he's offering. I'm kind of looking for him to throw in something else, and oh, he wants the tiny toy for the volt bike. I mean, okay, but that's not what I'm trading this video, so unfortunately I'm gonna have to decline this trade. Alright, we've got another player over here, and they're offering the Roadster. Looks like they just have a bunch of obtainables. Let me double check textures. No, they don't look like they have any textures or spin rims or anything. Yeah, they're just a brand new player. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do this trade. And also, keep in mind, like, the T-Rex bone that he threw in there, I think you were able to obtain that for free for, like, the past few months. And honestly, I would never trade for the T-Rex bone spoiler just because it was a free item that you were able to get for, like, the past few months, because it was actually the soccer ball reward for the past year. And so I would never actually trade for the T-Rex bone spoiler. It was a free item. And that being said, be careful for those, because I see a lot of players throwing them in, and then maybe if you're trading and you see a T-Rex bone spoiler, like, it's not really worth anything, so be careful for that. That being said though, this doesn't really add up to a Brulee, so I'm going to decline this trade. Alright, we've got another player over here. We're going to be throwing in the Brulee, and okay, that's actually really cool to see. He is offering the Parisian over here, and unfortunately he did actually balance it out with a Hyperchrome. So here's the problem with the Parisian. Yes, it's going to rise, but right now it's not worth even an M12. It's not getting the M12 itself consistently, so that means it's probably less than 5 million. So here's the thing. If someone offers you a Parisian and you're trading the Brulee, I would probably not do that trade quite yet unless the Parisian rises during the time you're watching the video. Now, I'm certain it's going to rise to 10 million eventually. Just, it's not worth that much quite yet. And right now, the Brulee is worth substantially more, like 2 Parisians or supposedly the value of a Brulee. So that being said, I would probably not do this trade. So that player was actually adding in a few other items there, but I didn't want to bore you guys with like 5 minutes of recording. He was actually looking for a few limiteds and whatnot, but he just kept on throwing in the Parisian and a few garbage rims and whatnot. So yeah, I would definitely not do trades like that. All right, let's see what other players have to offer for the Brulee. We got Mr. Wiggles over here, and he actually has the Proto 8, so I hope he makes the right choice and he throws in that Proto 8. I think that would be a good trade for the Brulee. Now, he's going to be playing dumb, but I know he has a Proto 8 in his inventory, and that's actually going for a good amount right now. Oh, he also has the Torpedo, so that's interesting. I didn't even realize that, but you could actually get yourself a Proto 8 for the Brulee, and honestly, that is a pretty decent vehicle that you can get. So that being said, I'm probably going to exit this trade, but it's something you can consider doing. Oh, this player is a fan. Oh, that's actually really cool to see. Today, I'm actually trading the Brulee. And, oh, he also has the Brulee. That's really cool. So, overall, the Brulee is a pretty decent vehicle. I think the Brulee's value is still somewhat decent, but it's definitely gone down since the last time I reviewed it. So, that's not a bad thing, but that definitely means you should be watching out when you're training for it. So, the performance of the Brulee is actually still really good. It makes it all across the map, still very fast. It does have the top speed limit nerf, but it is something I guess you just have to live with. And I think the C4 glitch might still somewhat work on it. It's probably not going to work as well as it used to, but handling is very good, and with the new monster truck suspension, it definitely is very good on off-road. I think it can actually climb hills pretty reliably now, so that is something the Brulee never used to do. And overall, it's still very versatile, never gets stuck on the train tracks, and it just does about everything you would want it to do. I think even with the Brulee's value going down, it still plays a pretty important role being an OG supercar in Jailbreak, and it actually has a very respectable legacy in the game, so it definitely still holds its place as being a worthwhile vehicle to trade for, even with the downsides becoming apparent the last few months. And if you don't already own the Brulee, then it could be worthwhile to consider, just because it is such a phenomenal vehicle. And the best part about the Brulee is you can use it to upgrade to other limiteds in training, so that means that even if you have the Brulee, then you can always just get rid of it, and you can always just upgrade to something like the Beigenet, which is actually going higher than the Brulee. So that being said, you can look for about 10 million for the Brulee. I think that's a very reasonable price for it, and despite the value going down, I think it is still a worthwhile vehicle to collect. Seriously, this vehicle has a very interesting past in Jailbreak. So as you can see here, I'm in a little bit of a race with the Bennett, and yeah, the Brulee's speed and performance is still basically much better than the Eclairs, and I think that is a very important difference between the two. Alright, that being said, guys, I hope you were able to take away what the Brulee is worth in Roblox Jailbreak trading. Now, if you want to see some other Roblox Jailbreak training videos, then there is a playlist in the description below, and if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. That being said, I'll see you in the next trading video.